Deep in the anthracite coal region of Pennsylvania, an underground inferno has been burning without a single day's pause since 1962. Up on the surface, the streets lead nowhere. This ghostly grid of pavement is being slowly reclaimed by the surrounding forest. The quiet is deceiving. The earth here is hollow, prone to sudden collapse, and actively venting toxic gases. These fields are the physical scar of an entire American community systematically deleted from the map. Decades before the buyouts, Centralia was a prosperous, multi-generational hub built entirely on the anthracite coal industry. By the early 20th century, up to 2,500 residents lived their daily lives directly above the very shafts where they worked. The collapse began in May of 1962. To clean up an illegal landfill at the edge of town, the Borough Council authorized a burn of the community's accumulated waste. It was meant to be a routine, controlled trash burn to reduce the volume of the refuse ahead of the Memorial Day weekend. This cross-section shows the fatal flaw in that plan. The base of the trash pit contained an unsealed 15-foot hole that led directly into a deep, unmined vein of Buck Mountain coal. Embers fell through the gap and ignited the seam. The resource that built the town was now permanently primed to destroy it. Previous mining practices created the perfect environment for a disaster. Desperate bootleg miners hollowed out the support pillars holding up the mine roofs, leaving behind a highly fractured, oxygen-rich labyrinth right under the town. With an unlimited supply of fuel and natural drafts of air pulling through the tunnels, the fire migrated uncontrollably. Throughout the 1970s, residents went about their daily lives largely unaware of the scale of the inferno beneath their feet. The first major alarm rang in 1979. A local gas station owner checked his underground fuel tanks and found the gasoline had heated to a volatile 172 degrees. Soon after, residents began reporting severe headaches and fatigue as odorless carbon monoxide seeped through the soil and directly into their basements. In 1981, a 12-year-old boy was playing in his grandmother's backyard when the ground suddenly gave way, plunging him into a 150-foot sinkhole venting poisonous gas. His cousin pulled him to safety, leaving behind a chasm of toxic fumes in the middle of a residential neighborhood. This new fatality forced both the town and the nation to recognize that the ground in Centralia was structurally and environmentally compromised. The government initially spent millions of dollars trying to choke the fire by digging trenches and pumping fly ash into the ground to block its path. These engineering efforts failed. Without accurate maps of the century-old bootleg tunnels, the fire simply followed uncharted pathways and bypassed the containment walls. As the fire spread, the town divided. Families in the immediate danger zones demanded aggressive intervention to save their homes from the encroaching heat. By 1983, the government abandoned the firefighting effort. Congress instead appropriated $42 million for a voluntary relocation program to buy out the residents. What followed was the methodical erasure of the borough. The state invoked eminent domain, bulldozed over 500 structures, and eventually revoked Centralia's zip code. When modern engineering failed to defeat the fire, the only bureaucratic solution left was to delete the community entirely. Decades after the buyouts began, the fire remains entirely immune to intervention. Anthracite coal is incredibly dense and burns remarkably hot. Insulated deep underground, these combustion zones can maintain temperatures of over 1,500 degrees Fahrenheit. Based on the volume of coal remaining in the Buck Mountain seam, geologists project the fire possesses enough fuel to continue burning for another 250 years. The blaze has evolved into a self-sustaining geological event, operating on a timeline that is entirely indifferent to human effort. A tiny handful of residents won a 2013 legal settlement, allowing them to live out their natural lives in the ghost town, though no new residents are permitted to move in. Beyond those few houses, the landscape bears permanent scars. Intense underground heat warped and fractured the local highways, forcing the state to permanently close and reroute a major section of Route 61. Isolated pieces of infrastructure remain across the empty lots. These exhaust vents act as pressure valves, releasing steam and toxic gases from the void below into the open air. Centralia is a monument to the multi-generational consequences of industrial exploitation. The same resource that built this town also guaranteed its destruction. The community was erased street by street, leaving behind a smoking landscape and a quiet warning. Would you ever travel to see the remnants of Centralia for yourself? Let us know in the comments.